Did you know that last year, 50% of all agents in the industry sold a whopping one home or less? And 70% of all the agents in the industry sold 5 or fewer homes. So let that sink in for a little bit. How the heck does a real estate agent even stay in business if they only manage to sell between 1 and 5 homes the entire year? Pretty wild, isn't it? Well, I'm sure you've heard of the 80-20 rule, and that definitely applies in our industry. And so if you're thinking about it, you might be like, so that might mean that the real estate industry is really hard, right? Or you could look at it from the other angle. Man, that's pretty easy. That just means I gotta outwork 70% of the agents and I'm good. So it's all on how you look at it, right? So welcome to the channel. My name is Lor Vang. I'm a local real estate agent in the Milwaukee area, and I'm here with the Elevate Agents Network, where we help real estate agents go above and beyond just being another average agent. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at what really makes a good agent. How do you stand out amongst the rest of the average agents? So without further ado, let's get into this video. So what does it take to become a good agent? And you might be thinking right away, well, I got to get more leads. Sorry to break it to you, but unfortunately, it's not the amount of leads that makes you a good agent or not. It's actually your ability to convert the leads that you actually have. And so how do you convert more leads? Well, basically comes down to your skills, right? Skills pay the bills. And so you need to have the fundamental skills of a good agent in order to convert those leads, those opportunities that you do have. Okay, I follow you. So what exactly is one of the skills that I need as a real estate agent to be good? Well, any good person in the sales or service industry, it starts with communication, right? If you cannot communicate properly to your client, to the other agent on the other side, the loan officer, the title company, right, your broker, it's going to be rough. If you're not confident in the way that you deliver your communication, if your confidence is lacking, it's not going to look good for you in front of your client, in front of the other agent. They're going to eat you alive, right? So work on your communication and your confidence when you talk, and of course your body language as well, because if your body language is showing something else differently than what you're saying, obviously people are going to see it, right? The next skill that you should work on is time management. As a self-employed person, there's no boss telling you what to do. Your mom's not looking over your shoulder telling you, hey, now you should be looking at the homes of the market. Okay, now you should be doing your marketing. Now you should be doing your follow-up calls, right? Nobody is looking over your shoulder, right? The worst thing that can ever happen is you get that random call from your client. Hey, we're at the property. Where are you at? Oh, crap. I forgot. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Right? I haven't had to do that myself yet, but hey, it does happen to some people, right? But it's very important that you have proper time management and consistency in your schedule, right? You want to build a routine, right? So you stay on top of things and you don't let things fall through the crack. So time management, very important. The next skill to develop is your problem solving skill. Well, what do you mean? We don't ever have problems as real estate agents. That doesn't exist. Yeah, we're always dealing with problems in real estate transactions, and no transaction is ever the same. There's so many problems that we deal with on a daily basis, but it can be very overwhelming for you as an agent, for especially if you're newer. There's a lot of newer agents that I mentor, and oh my gosh, sometimes they have a complete meltdown because of the problems, right? They're trying to control everything, like the appraisal result. Like, relax, you cannot control the outcome of the appraisal, right? Stop worrying about things that you can't control. You need to learn to let things go. Whatever comes of it, We know what options we have. We know what options that we can present to our client, like, hey, here's what happens if this scenario happens, right? And then we can do this or we can do that. But until we cross that bridge, let's not worry too much about it, right? So you really gotta learn how to step back and, wait until things happen. But at the same time, just don't do nothing. I mean, you have to prepare your clients, right? Give them the scenarios and just be like, hey, okay, these are the things that we can do. And you let me know what you want to do when that time comes. And I'll go to the other side. I'll go up to bat for you. And, if we have to negotiate some discounts, some credits, I got your back. I'm going to go do that for you. But let's wait and see what happens, right? So, that is a very important skill set to have, the ability to solve a problem. Sometimes we have difficulties with the seller, right? The seller's being stupid, right? They're just being difficult. And so we have to work with the listing agent to come up with a solution, right? And if we can't, then at the end of the day, the deal falls apart. That's what happens, right? Because we have to save our clients earnest money. We have to work in their best interest, and that's one of the options. So definitely learn how to problem solve and not to be so obsessed where you're trying to control every single outcome, because honestly, we can't control quite a lot of things in the real estate transaction, right? So work on those problem solving skills, because that's what we get paid. We get paid to help solve people's real estate problems. The next most important skill that you got to work on is your marketing and your branding, especially in today's day and age, right? It is so easy for us as real estate agents to build our brand, to get exposure. It's free to publish on social media. It's free to publish on this platform, YouTube, that you're watching me on. Why aren't you doing it? So you got to be willing to do the things that other agents aren't willing to do. And, you got to be able to be found. People have to know who you are. In this day and age, it is way more important that people know who you are and what you do versus who you know. It used to be all about who you knew, right? But I can tell you, there's so many customers that a lot of my customers, majority of my customers today, I have no clue who they are. I've never met them before. I've got to the point where a lot of my business is through leads that I've generated, through social media, through Facebook group pages, through YouTube, of course, right? And so it is pretty amazing that social media and YouTube works. And so you just got to work it, right? Be consistent. So get on it. All right. So now people know who you are. You got a brand, your marketing, you got all these leads coming in. Well, the next most important skill is your FU game, your follow-up game. If you're not following up with those leads when they come in, then they're trash, right? What's the point? What's the point of having leads come in if you can't keep up or you don't even bother to call and to follow up? And along with this, the whole follow-up game, and how good of an agent are you if you're not proactive, right? If you're not proactively providing updates, follow-ups to your current clients that you're in transactions with, right? If you're always waiting for them to reach out to you first, you already done messed up. If your buyer's like, hey, what's going on? Or your seller's like, hey, what's going on my listing? Do I have any showings? Where's the feedback? You're just telling me to cut the price. What the hell have you been doing? Right? And so, why should they be paying you when you're not proactive, right? So when you bring on a new buyer, are you sending them potential listings that match what they're looking for? Or are you waiting for them to send them to you, expecting them to look through the hundreds, thousands of emails that they get about new listings, right? Are you waiting for them to filter through that whole list? Or are you in the list looking at it first and then shooting them over to them, right? Because if you're not proactive about it, good luck. Some buyers may not be very serious. They may not be always looking at their emails, but some of them may be relying on you to send them potential matches, right? Because again, they're hiring you for a reason. They're not just hiring you so you can sit back and send them automatic emails. Another really amazing thing that happens when you're a proactive agent and you provide frequent follow-ups and you over communicate to not just your client, but also the loan officer in the deal, the listing agent in the deal. They recognize real quick that, oh, wow, this agent's on top of things. They're different. They're different than the other agents I've worked with. They know their stuff. They're easy to work with. I love working with this agent, right? And so I've had loan officers tell me this, right? They're like, hey man, let's do some more deals together. This one was awesome. Same thing with the listing agent. I've done multiple deals with the listing agent. And when they see my name on that offer come in, they tell their seller, hey, I've worked with this agent. We close deals together, you know? And so it really helps my buyers out, right? When the listing agent is backing me up. And so that's really what happens when you do good work. Like my mentor says, the money is in the FU. So follow up, be proactive. Don't be that agent who is reactive. Don't just sit around and wait for things to happen, to drop in your lap. You got to go out there and get it. One of the other most important skill sets, along with time management, is accountability. Accountability for what you do in your business. Do you hold yourself accountable? Do you do the things that you're telling yourself that you should be doing for your business? Do you treat your business as a business? Or is it just a side hustle, part-time? You know, and then you start to have to look at it from the standpoint of, oh, I have to do this. I have to do that. But when you really enjoy what you do, you got to look at it from, I get to do this. I get to wake up every day and work in real estate, the thing that I love, the thing that I'm passionate about, helping other people with the biggest purchase in their life, right? Helping investors build their portfolio and their financial freedom, and, you know, helping other agents to be super successful as well in the industry, right? So accountability, that's a really hard one, right? I have issues with accountability. Look at my YouTube video log, right? I have not been consistent in my YouTube game. So something that I struggle with. You have to be consistent, right? You have to make consistent progress in your business to make it have an impact. You can't just create one video every 6 months. Yeah, I'm working on that. So accountability, that's a tough one to work on. The next most important skill set to have is the continuous student mindset. So what is that? Basically, the hunger to continue to learn in your industry, right? To never think you've got it all figured out, right? Even when you become a top producer, guess what? There's levels to this game. There's agents who are doing twice, 3 times, 4 times what you're doing. And so you have to think, what's the next level? How do I get there? And so for me, I attend a lot of masterminds, a lot of conferences, so I can learn what the newest strategies are for the current market that we're in, right? And guess what? The market, it changes all the time. Week by week, month by month. All of a sudden we're in a buyer's market, all of a sudden we're in a seller's market, all of a sudden the rates go up, the rates go down, buyers are scattering. Guess what? You have to learn different strategies to adopt to the market, what's going on. You can't just sit back and be like, oh, it is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. That's not the mindset that you should be having, right? I go to conferences, I repeat, and I keep going back because each time I go back, I'm a different version of me. My business is in a different point. I have a different problem that I'm trying to solve. I'm trying to see what's the next thing that I need to work on? What's the next thing that I can do to grow, right? And so you have to keep growing, because the minute that you let that ego tell you, oh, you got this, you got it made, you got to figure it out, you know everything, you don't even know anything else. You know what I'm talking about, some of you guys. Once you have that mindset and you stop growing, you're dying. Other people are going to pass you right up. And so you have to continue to learn, especially today. AI is the rage, right? Figure out how to use AI, implement it into your system, right? And so, that you are ahead of the curve and you're not left behind. So, one of the most important skill sets as well that you need to work on is the ability to ask for help when you need it, right? And so I found this out early on. I didn't know everything, right? You have to admit that you don't know everything. And when you see another agent that is super successful, that is something that you want to get to at some point in your career, you know what? Reach out to them. Tell them that, hey, you are really inspired by their journey and you're just kind of curious, how did they get there, right? Learn their story, right? And build that relationship, right? Just don't be a leech, right? don't just hit them up for all the value, suck them dry, and then leave, right? This is a relationship game, right? You want to build relationships that go deep, right? Not just superficial. And you'd be surprised. A lot of top producers out there, the mega agents, the people who seem like they're unapproachable, they're very friendly. They're an open book. They're willing to talk to you, right? They're willing to spend time with you. But, as long as, like I said, as long as you're willing to be coachable, you're taking their advice, you're not just wasting their time, asking them questions, and then you're not doing anything with it, right? Don't take up all their time if you're not going to implement anything. That's just you wasting their time, and why would you do that, right? So get in the right rooms, find your tribe, find your people, find your support group of agents to mastermind with, that are willing to share strategies, right? That are willing to help support and grow together with you. So that's very powerful, and hopefully you find that mentor that you need. The very last thing that you need to do to be a good agent is to be persistent, right? To have resilience, to not be afraid to, see rejection, right? You're going to see a lot of rejection. You're going to lose a lot of deals. You're going to lose a lot of leads. There's going to be sellers that decide not to use you because either, they're too cheap, right? They don't want to pay you what you're worth. They found somebody else. They're going to go for a flat fee, whatever company, right? And good for them. Yeah, let them go. Because you know what? Honestly, those are not the type of customers, clients that you want to work with, right? You're not a discount shop, right? You know your worth. And if you're going to do a great job, then you should be compensated well. It's oftentimes the customers who ask for discounts right away or ask right off the bat, what do you charge? Those are really the worst customers that you will ever work with, quite honestly. But, you have to be resilient. There's going to be a lot of rejection, a lot of loss. It's a numbers game. You have to figure out your numbers. How many leads do you need to get a client? How many clients do you need to get contracts? How many contracts do you need to have in the pipeline to actually close? And so once you understand your numbers, right, whether you're cold calling, whether you're doing social media, whatever, you got to know how many leads you need to convert, right? And so once you understand that, of course, the next thing to do is detach yourself from the results, right? If you're doing great, cool. Keep marketing. Keep doing, keep converting those leads. Because guess what? You never know how many of those deals are going to fall apart. Some of them may never make it to closing. So one of my mentors, he was like, hey, yeah, I had a goal of 50 transactions. And that year I had 50 listings. Guess how many closings I had at the end of the year? And he said about a quarter of that, right? Majority of his listings never closed. So that's insane, right? But hey, it happens, right? It's a numbers game. So keep working, be resilient. So these are the skills that I believe if you can work on building, you'll definitely stand out from the majority of the agents in the industry. You will go from surviving to thriving, even in really tough market conditions. And I've done that. I've been proof of that, right? Through my marketing on social media and YouTube, I've had great years in down years where many people were struggling, and people be asking me like, hey, how are you doing that, right? The market's like upside down, but you're still going, right? And it's not luck, right? It's just doing the work that other agents are not willing to do. And so drop a comment below, subscribe for more. Let's build something amazing together. And if you're open to it, I'm actually starting up a weekly I Love Agents network mastermind on Zoom every Monday at 12 p.m. Basically, it's just a, just a call mastermind session with other agents who are looking to grow for help and support. And, we're just going to talk about some training topics, just like this one here, how we can be better, how we can level up, right? So if you're interested in that, shoot me a DM or an email, comment below. I'll send you the information so you can hop on that call. So see you in the next video.